Hi, you guys. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna be answering some questions. Well, let me know if you can hear me. I'm gonna be answering questions for people who are either already awakened, like been awakened for a minute, or people who are newly awakened. Usually, I save these live videos for when I'm inside of my private groups. Um, you know, for people who are, used to my messages and stuff like that. But today I was led to just, share some of this information with you guys. And I really just want to answer whatever you want to know. I want to start off by saying, for all of you guys that don't know me as a spiritual coach or anything like that, I'm Fay the Cosmic Love, and I love you guys. Hi, Starla. Um, yeah, so today I want to answer you guys' questions. Of course, this is all my opinion. This is not fact per se, because some people, will have different experiences than me. Some people, they filter source messages differently than I do. And although it won't be contradictory, it might sound differently. So, do you have any questions? I get a lot of questions like, what's the meaning of life? Are aliens real? Stuff about the cabal, stuff like that. That was in one of my groups, but I ended up closing that group down because a lot of the questions were coming from people. A lot of the questions were coming from people that weren't awakened at all, and it's like a questions. When you make the decision to wake up from the global deception or spiritual deception, your types of questions are completely different. You go from asking things like, what is the meaning of life, to things like, what can I contribute to this life? How do I become a conscious observer of this life? And just generally things like that. So that's a big difference. I see that nobody's asking any questions, so I'm gonna rack my brain a little bit to see if there's some sweet gems I can drop on you today. Because sometimes, people get kind of nervous about asking spiritual questions because they feel like their questions might be stupid or small-minded or whatever, and I don't think like that. Some third eyes are ruined. Okay, your third eye. I believe that a lot of people can agree your third eye would be physically located right here. It is a part of a series of vortexes within the spiritual body that has everything to do with spiritual sight. So what mainstream Christians would call discernment, or sometimes when people can prophesy or something like that, usually it has everything to do with your third eye. That's the faculty that you're using to be able to see these things that have yet to manifest on this plane of existence, or have already manifested in this plane of existence, but you were not actually physically conscious of. I don't think that somebody's third eye can be ruined. I do think that a lot of times when we use our senses, after you use your sense, you also have to perceive that which your sense absorbed. So like right now, I'm using my eyes. I can see myself in my phone, but my mind might screw up that thing that my eyes are seeing. I might see myself completely different from how everybody else sees me. And that doesn't mean that my eyes are not working. That just means that my brain might not be working at its highest frequency. So I think it's the same way with the chakra system, and especially the third eye. Everybody doesn't perceive things the same way. So your intuition, your spiritual vision might be seeing one thing, and because you haven't balanced yourself spiritually, you haven't cleansed yourself, and sometimes your motive isn't at a very high frequency. Sometimes because of that, what you are seeing with your third eye is then skewed or perverted into something that it wasn't meant to be. So this one girl had messaged me like a week or two ago to ask me how to open her third eye. And I had to tell her that that is not a good idea. You should not go out of your way to open your third eye. Because number one, a lot of times there are things that you might see spiritually that you are definitely not ready for. You're not ready to see it. It's a process. It's levels to this. So in my opinion, the best way, if you do want your third eye to be open, or for you to have spiritual discernment or the gift of prophecy or whatever the case may be, which I feel is a gift that's available to anybody, is to align yourself with love. Love for source and love for self. Because when you align yourself with love, when that's the frequency that you're emitting out into the universe, that's what's going to be given to you. And with love, in that same range, is knowledge, truth, complete health, and such. So when you operate at the highest frequency that you possibly can, a love frequency, then you attract all those things that you need. Some people talk about, as far as the third eye, is the calcification of the pineal gland, which happens to the majority of people because we drink a lot of water that is poisoned. Basically, there's a lot of fluoride in our water, in our toothpaste, and sometimes in other products that we use that contribute to the calcification of your pineal gland, which is responsible for your spiritual sight. So, of course, people who know me know that I know that that's being done on purpose, the dumbing down of people, they're purposefully calcifying our pineal gland so that we cannot have discernment, so that our spiritual sight is dimmed. Now, when you start to live a life of love, when you start emitting that type of vibration, what ends up happening is when you're loving source and you're loving yourself, there are certain things that you will not put into your body, because now knowledge, you're gaining more knowledge of self. You're gaining more knowledge of what's happening in the world and how dark forces or whatever are manipulating our society into killing ourselves. Now, when you come into this type of knowledge, you feel compelled, convicted. Christians talk about how the Holy Spirit will convict you when you're doing something that's out of alignment with source. And that's exactly what happens. When you awaken, when you start aligning yourself with source and with love, you start gaining this knowledge, and you feel compelled to apply the knowledge that you're gaining to your life. So now, okay, I know that the toothpaste has fluoride. I'm not going to use it. If I know that the deodorant has aluminum, which is clogging my pores and causing my lymph nodes not to be able to secrete toxins properly, I'm going to stop using it. Knowledge is power, and a lot of times when you know better, you have you feel an obligation to do better. So through loving yourself, and then you start applying a lot of this knowledge that you're learning so that you can live at a higher love frequency, it naturally decalcifies your pineal gland. It reverses a lot of the damage that has been done to us over a long period of time. And it happens naturally. This is not something that you have to go out of your way to do. Waking up in the morning and saying, oh, today I'm gonna open up my third eye. You might be opening up Pandora's box because you're not ready for whatever you're gonna get. It's a process. It's levels to this. You want to be as kind and as gentle to yourself as you possibly can. And that means taking things step by step. That means being patient with yourself. If I know I've met a lot of people when I was going to church heavy who would pray for the gift of speaking in tongues, and they don't actually know what that means. They don't know the root of what that is. But they see it and they want it, and they don't understand there's levels to this. There's some churches that you go to that they're quote unquote speaking in tongues, and you don't understand that, yeah, they're speaking at a spiritual level. They're speaking to other spiritual entities, but you don't know what spiritual entities they're talking to. And I've been to churches where, you know, certain people are speaking in tongues, and I can feel the energy of angelic beings there. So I know who they're talking to. It's levels to this. So don't be quick to copy. Take it slow. If you want to be able to use all of your God-given powers to the best of your ability, you need to be able to devote all of your time, every second of your day, of your life, to raising your vibration. You need to devote your entire life to love. And, you know, I know a lot of people that, you know, don't believe in Jesus Christ because, you know, they say he's a fictitious character. It's a myth. There is no historical evidence of Jesus Christ having ever existed, so forth and so forth. And honestly, what I have to say as far as that is concerned is it doesn't matter whether he actually existed or he didn't actually exist, because Jesus Christ, whether he existed or not, is still an archetype of the highest vibration that you could possibly obtain while here on this earth. If you can think it, it's possible. There's nothing that's impossible. So just the fact that a collective consciousness believes in the archetype of a human being incarnate here that could raise people from the dead, heal anybody, turn water into wine, walk on water, so forth and so forth, means that it is possible for you personally to attain. The fact that you can think it means that it can be so. It is something that you can manifest. And to be able to reach that type of level in your life, it's steps to this, it's levels to this. And the number one key to it all is love. Loving source and loving yourself. When you love source and you love yourself, you start to realize that, number one, there's nothing outside of source. There's nothing outside of God. That's why there technically is no judgment, because to judge, you have to be able to compare it to something else. And since there's nothing outside of God, but we are all in God, there is nothing that God can compare itself to. Just like your thoughts are a part of you. You think something, there is a connection there. It will forever be in the cosmos as a thought that came from you. That's the same way you came directly from source and are still in source. That is inseparable. So when you are trying to be the best that you can be, raise yourself to the highest vibration, you need to be able to understand that through loving, you will realize everything is connected. That everybody that's watching this video right now is me, and I am you. And every time I help myself, I'm helping somebody else. Every time you help yourself, you're helping somebody else, because energetically we all are of source. We are all source energetically, because there can't be anything outside of source. I mean, so hopefully you guys can follow that logic. So for all of you guys out there that are seeking to spiritually be as enlightened as possible, just go out and love. Go against your comfort zone and love as hard as you can. And by love, I don't mean the kind of love that you see on television. Because love isn't a word, it's an action. This is something that you have to just constantly be in the act of doing. Hold on. And it's hard. I usually seek advice from Corinthians as far as love is concerned. You know, love is patient, love is kind. It doesn't boast, it isn't arrogant, it doesn't judge. You know, I'm sure you guys can Google it for all of you guys that don't know the verse, but I find it to be the truest description of what love is so far. And applying those attributes to source and to yourself is the quickest way to climb the spiritual rungs. Okay? To be able to do all those things that Christ did, you have to. That's the only way to do it. That's the only way to get there, is through love. If you want spiritual discernment, you need to love. If you want to be able to turn water into wine, love. You want to be able to heal yourself and heal others around you, love. So, I mean, that's my advice for today. Of course, I'm going to do other videos that go deeper into that, because right now I'm working on a video series that breaks down the aspects of love and how to apply it to yourself. Things that, you know, people consider miracles are really not miracles. These are things that, you know, we can actually all do. It's our right to be able to do these things, but the majority of people don't know how to do it because they don't know how to align themselves with love. So we're going to be, you know, talking about that a lot, and so forth and so forth. I do have a Facebook group for all of you guys that do want to delve in a little deeper into spiritual consciousness and stuff like that. It's called the Cosmic Love Tribe. So I'll share it on my page if you guys are interested. You guys could join or whatever. But I really enjoyed talking to you guys. Hello. I really enjoyed talking to you guys, and I love you guys so much. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. I hope I added value to your life. If anything I said vibrated well with you, please share it with somebody else. You know, we have the power to change the world. Just share as much as you can. Thank you, Rose. I love you. Yeah, just share as much as you can with the people that you know. Knowledge is power, and the world is changing, even if you don't notice. We're all getting a lot better, and there's a lot of healing happening, and you can be a part of the change. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time.